Hi everybody and big welcome to a Yuriko deck tech video. Now this is 2022 and a lot of updates have actually happened, and with us today we have Jordan, who's actually built a tribal version of this.
Hey guys, my name is Jordan. This is my Yuriko tribal deck. I've been playing Magic since about 2015. I've been playing EDH for most of that time. Yeah, this is a deck I've been playing for since Yuriko came out, and it's slowly becoming more and more viable in a cEDH pod. And this is something I would actually be comfortable taking to a tournament now.
Now if you're interested in taking a look at this deck in action, me and Jordan actually uploaded a gameplay video on the channel, link in the description below of the video.
This game really showcased what ninjas are capable of, all the cool interactions you can do with ninjutsu during combat, especially like after the damage with Sakashima Student.
So Ninja Tribal. I mean, tribal doesn't sound that hot in general, like that does sound like a bit of a casual thing, but does tribal actually work here?
I think so. Like, a lot of the ninjas have very powerful effects if they connect, and then obviously more ninjas means more Yuriko triggers, and this deck is looking just to like grind out advantage and card advantage. Although some people might not agree with some of the ninjas I have in this list, I feel like it does lend itself to the strategy.
So as always, in the description below of the video you can always find the link to the deck list that we're talking about, which has the name Yuriko, and that's it. So in this deck of yours we have Changeling Outcast, Doffy Voidwalker, Emrakul the Promised End. I really like that.
That's a spicy one.
Yeah, Fairy Seer, Fallen Shinobi, Grim Hireling, Igneous Infiltrator, Ink Eye, Servant of Oni. Really expensive ninja.
That's one probably people will disagree with me on, but I think it's good.
Increased Infiltrator, Mist Syndicate, Naga. I actually have seen a lot of people play this one because you kind of swarm your opponents with tokens eventually.
Yeah, it feels a little win more sometimes, but like you hit with it once, it gets out of hand real quick.
Mistblade Shinobi, pretty all-star ninja, 1 blue. That's good. Moon Circuit Hacker, Mouth Dust Changeling, Ninja of the Deep Hours, Opposition Danger, great card, Ornithopter for that turn, Tune Yuriko, Phantasmal Image, Sakashima Student, Silver Fear Master, making ninjas build cheaper, that's good. Skull Snatcher, Spectral Sailor, Tetsuku Uma, Thassas Oracle, Thousand Face Shinobi, Vargoth, Wingcrafter, and Wonder. Do you really feel that you need that many, or do you want to have more, or what's the ratio of sorts?
I don't know. I think I'm playing all like the impactful ones, and yeah, I'm happy with having maybe like the ability to have 2 or 3 triggers per combat.
Yeah, if you look at the CMC overall inside this deck, the average mana value for main board is 1.87, and without lands,
which is a little high, but we have a few like ridiculous cost spells in the deck just for Yuriko flips.
Yeah, I mean you have Emrakul the Promised End in here,
which most people don't play, but I like it. Obviously, it's 13 CMC, so hitting everyone for 13 feels real good, especially when you can like if you have like Skull Rack or Brainstorm in your hand, so then like you can hit people for 26 sometimes. But I've also found in a few situations where like I can't win on this turn, but my opponent is about to, so I can cast Emrakul and then like ruin their hand and their turn.
But like 13 mana, isn't that quite a lot? I mean, it does reduce its casting cost.
Yeah, like 13 mana is a big ask, but with its ability to reduce its casting cost, and we're drawing so many cards that we're usually discarding a lot. So I mean, I think you can get Emrakul down to 5 mana, which I think is reasonable.
Yeah, you have like 9 artifacts. You have Lotus Petal that is going to the graveyard by itself. You have 27 instants, you have 7 sorceries. Some of these are actually going to the graveyard pretty easily. You don't have any enchantments or planeswalkers. You do have a bunch of creatures that will definitely hit the graveyard, but if you can
we do have the one planeswalker. We've got the Kaido.
Oh yeah, sorry, Kaido. Tribal planeswalker, of course.
Yeah, of course. Have to.
But what about enchantments? I mean, you could include... Wait, there's no Mystic Remora in this deck? What's wrong with you?
I know.
What?
We're so starved on mana that I always want turn 1 evasive creature, turn 2 Yuriko, that it doesn't actually make sense for the deck.
Interesting.
Because I think I'm on 27 lands, I think.
Yes, you're on 27 lands.
Playing a more Remora, I mean, obviously is good. You get to draw cards. I'll actually draw more cards having a quicker Yuriko than I will off a Mystic Remora.
I mean, your card draw with Yuriko is pretty good anyway, so like it's... I mean, you usually discard into hand size when you're playing Yuriko, so...
Yeah, and that's why we play Wonder.
Great creature to have in your graveyard. I think Wonder is such a cool card. I mean, as long as you have an island, and this is in your graveyard, all your creatures got flying. That's really great for your evasive strategy.
And like especially now with creatures and stacks, like stacks creatures or creatures in general are becoming more prevalent. Getting through with Yuriko or like a lot of these ninjas is very difficult now. So this is just an option to help us get through.
That's really key actually, because without like getting through, your commander and your entire team of ninja tribes just sitting there kinda. Also CMC 4, I mean, if you flip into this, that's 4 loss of life for all of your opponents. But you can win with the classic Thassas Oracle, Demonic Consultation, and the Tainted Pact stuff. Typical Demir.
Yeah, like this is just too good not to play.
Yeah, absolutely. How often are you winning with this, and how often are you winning with Burn? It feels like your deck is almost like the Yuriko Burn stuff.
Yeah, I'd say like 50-50 or like 60-40 burn versus this.
But you said there were other applications for ninjutsu.
Yeah, you can do ninjutsu anytime after blockers have been declared and you have an attacker not blocked. So this applies to combat after damage has been dealt, but we haven't ended combat yet. So what we can do is ninjutsu and Sakashima Student and make it a copy of, say, Dockside Extortionist. Now, if Dockside Extortionist makes 4 mana, what we can do is now ninjutsu Sakashima Student back to our hand and ninjutsu and, say, Moon Circuit Hacker because it has a 1 mana CMC or 1 mana ninjutsu. And now ninjutsu and Sakashima Student again, bringing Moon Circuit Hacker back to our hand, making it another copy of Dockside Extortionist. So now we're netting mana and we can do this infinite times to create infinite mana. And then say like our opponent has a Kenrith in play, we can make everybody draw cards and win with our opponent's win condition.
Yeah, how it actually works out is that you're sitting having a attacker, because the thing that your ninja into play is considered being attacking and unblocked. So you can ninja that person. Even if you're actually changing the creature, the new creature is always considered attacking and not blocked, which makes it a legal target for ninjutsu. The problem here is that it requires that you have an opponent with a Dockside in play, which isn't that rare. Actually,
yeah, it's not the rarest thing in the world. It's just a neat thing that you can keep in mind when you're playing this deck.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, the 2 cards here, Sakashima Student and Moon Circuit Hacker, are pretty good in the deck anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what about Peregrine Drake? I mean, this is a card you could have inside your deck, and you would net 2 mana in each activation here, so you would go infinite, because Sakashima Student, that is 2, Moon Circuit Hacker, that is 1, that is a total cost of 3, while you're gaining 5.
Well, now you're thinking with ninjas. Yeah, this is another application, could definitely work, but just unfortunately that Peregrine Drake's like a bad card on its own.
So you're playing Cursed Totem inside this deck. Creatures can't activate abilities.
Ninjutsu is not affected by this. So we get to keep ninjutsuing happy-go-lucky and our opponents get to cry.
Really good card currently in the meta. A lot of really commander-orientated decks out there that want to activate their commander abilities over and over. You actually do that too, but you're going past it. You play Mindbreak Trap. 4 CMC, that's a good flip for Yuriko.
It's a great flip for Yuriko, and I think this card is really, really good in the meta right now, and I think more people should play it.
It's very bad versus stacks though, versus a Rule of Law. When there's a Rule of Law.
It is very bad against versus Rule of Law, but it's very, very good against anybody trying to combo off, especially after they've resolved like an ad nauseum. Usually that's like game over because they have a bunch of free counter spells, but with this you can get rid of everything.
Even more expensive, you have a Commandeer at 7 mana.
Obviously we're gonna pay for its alternate cost when we do cast this, but 7 mana is great. Great CMC for Yuriko. Nobody expects this card, and it's a very powerful effect.
I really like it. I mean, once again, Yuriko is building that huge hand size, and instead of like paying mana, you pay with your hand size. And I mean, obviously, if you're playing Commandeer, you're playing the smaller version of Commandeer, Force of Will at 5 CMC.
So, I mean, Force of Will is just a staple in our format, and it lends itself well to Yuriko's strategy as well.
Yeah, you're basically just looking for every free-to-cast high CMC spell in general, kinda.
Yeah, another good one being, well, not free, but Seagate Restoration.
Oh yeah, the land, 7 mana. So you're also playing Grafdigger's Cage, 1 CMC. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries.
I think it's really good in our format, especially with Underworld Breach being one of the best ways to win. It stops Neoform, it stops Eldritch Evolution. Yeah, I think it's an all-around great little stacks piece that I think more people should play.
I am not a huge fan of it personally. I think it's great inside Ursa because Ursa can utilize it. Like for Ursa, this is a mana producing rock kinda, but for many other decks, it's just a stacks piece in general.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it could be replaced with a counter spell.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, I guess if you're going into like a blind meta or like a tournament, then it might be better suited just to have an extra counterspell.
But now I want to hear the story about this free CMC legendary Kaido Planeswalker for tribal ninja stuff.
Yeah, well, we can't have a tribal ninja deck without our tribal ninja planeswalker. And he's not just there for like silly reasons. He actually does help the deck out, where drawing cards is always nice, and like usually you don't have to discard because the deck's always attacking. And if the board gets stalled out, we can start making unblockable ninjas, so they get through. We can ninjutsu in even better threats, or we can just hit the one and start getting Yuriko triggers off of it. We usually never use the emblem though.
So your deck in general is just to, like the typical Yuriko, get Yuriko out very early in the game, then establish a few really cheap, preferably unblockable ninjas, start to accumulate more Yuriko triggers, and build a huge hand size with a lot of control.
Exactly, and then we just like shift into a tempo roll where we try to control the board the best we can and keep getting more and more card advantage, and like our opponent's life totals are like quickly going down.
Now, one thing I've actually seen you do quite often as I've been playing against you is that you're using your mystical tutor to find Fierce Guardianship in response to one of your Yuriko triggers. Now, normally you use mystical tutor to find a win con, like a combo piece like Tainted Pact or Consult or various things, but you're finding Fierce Guardianship usually when you're using mystical tutor.
If I just need extra protection, like I always have Yuriko out, it's a good way to police the board. They know that they won't be able to like go off without protection of their own, so it's a good way to like police the board without actually having to do anything.
When you're revealing that you're finding Fierce Guardianship, you're saying we're gonna make this game longer. People that are like trying to turbo out are slowing down their speed, which actually means that you can sit with your counter spells a little bit longer for the longer stage. It's giving you more time.
Yeah, and then we're drawing more cards, so hopefully drawing more interaction, and yeah, it just it really helps our game plan. It's also super fun to mystical tutor for a Temple Trespass and hit everybody for 11.
And then you delve out your entire graveyard and pay 3 blue and do a swing again.
Yeah, super fun.
So who is this deck for?
I think this is for people who sort of want to maybe dip their toes into like cEDH. This deck isn't like, it doesn't have to be insanely expensive to be effective at a cEDH table. Like I know some people have like even brewed it for like less than $100 and been able to win. And it also has a lot of the staples that if you want to start going further into competitive EDH, that a lot of the cards in this deck will translate into other decks really nicely. And people who like ninjas, which basically should be everyone.
I mean, who doesn't like ninjas?
But yeah, that's my opinion. What do you think? Who do you think this deck is for?
I think it's great for a control player. A player that really likes to draw more cards on your opponent, have a really consistent deck, because Yuriko is extremely consistent. Like your turn 2 is always going to be a Yuriko trigger, and that is very like safe, and it feels good to always go into a game when you have that guaranteed. It's also a very great deck for someone that really likes to sit and just theory craft how you're going to control the entire board state. You look at your hand, you think about your opponents. Okay, I'm gonna use this counter spell for that thing. I'm gonna save this counter spell for that thing. But I need to like solve that other problem over there as well. So I might need to save this. So like sometimes when you're playing this, like I feel like you have to like hold back and not throw away all of your interactions too quickly. And sometimes just move away certain key pieces that you have to destroy to secure your victory.
Yeah, there's a lot of times when I feel like I'm the board police with this deck.
Yeah, this is definitely a deck for you if you like being the arch enemy. I often think people are going to like group up against the Yuriko player because Yuriko is usually taking over the game quite easily and effectively.
Yeah, especially if you flip like a big burn spell right off the bat, people are like, oh, this is an issue.
This can literally threaten to kill people, especially consider your deck has like lots of ninjas and Emrakul and some really high seams spells in it. So people could accidentally just die from 3 random Yuriko triggers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll definitely be playing it on your channel because it's one of my favorite decks. But I'm also thinking about playing it at the Tier 1 Con tournament in Sweden coming up in July. I think it's well suited for the meta. I think it's not a deck that people immediately think is a threat, and I think sometimes being the least threatening commander at the table is an advantage because people don't or kind of ignore you, and then you can put together a win when they're worried about everybody else.
Thank you, Jordan, for coming here and sharing your ninja expertise, the secret stuff that the ninjas never talk about.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was super fun. I really like this deck, and I hope I can inspire some people to play it.
That's it for us. Take care, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and you wanna support me, feel free to share my videos or even checking out my Patreon page. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link in the description below of the video will also help the channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.